What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host, Colonel and Dad, Garrett Morlang, and here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and still resident superstar, Adrian Holmes. What's up, Adrian?
What's going on, my good man? Another week. We got some condolences to give out here in just a few minutes. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yes. But we are here. You know, the really the foundation of the show at this point. Because
of course,
there's no third. No third wheel.
I feel like even though it's probably mathematically not true, I think I've been on more episodes than JJ at this point.
I mean, possibly. I
mean,
maybe Kajoma. Kajoma, when you have a chance, I need you to check that out. You need to go back to that.
It may need to be fact checks, but I can just say I feel as though. How about that as a disclaimer? Yeah. I've been on more episodes than JJ at this point.
Yeah. And just to bash on JJ a little more, this idea, I had not an idea. I had this thought earlier today. I'm like, oh man, you know what? My Good Vibes with Garrett that comes out each and every week, which, by the way, I totally forgot to put out like a post. There's not going to be one this week. Sorry, guys. This last weekend was busy. Normally I record them either the Thursday before or just sometime over the weekend. My parents are in town. So I was just like, nah, this is too much. There's too much going on.
There you go. Hey, it's all
sorry.
Extracurricular content anyway.
Yeah,
so.
I missed a week. I apologize. But anyways, I was like, basically, Good Vibes with Garrett is just Tall Tales of JJ, but successful.
But cleaned up.
But clean. But I didn't take it X-rated like 3 episodes in. So there you go, Kajoma. You know, he was a little bummed out that we had to stop his segment, but it's still going. Yeah, it's just a little bit different.
Lives. It's a little different. Spiritual successor.
We just tweaked it a little bit. JJ is not with us here this week. He is off on another work trip. And that's actually a true story. That's not one we made up, but who knows what he's doing this time. I'm sure some sort of corporate espionage, probably. He's trying to steal those trade secrets, maybe. You know, what you don't know about JJ is he's actually a lot sneakier and stealthier than you'd think he'd be. It's really surprising, actually.
That's nice that you were trying to make a cover for him, but let's tell the truth here. JJ went on a work trip to a boot convention, all right? He just wanted to go, and there was a buffet of boots, and he just wanted to see which one tasted the best. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, I was trying to cover for him, but yeah, the truth's out.
That's what the truth is
out.
He's testing, he's licking boots, trying to figure out which one is the best for him, so...
Oh man. Yeah, so without him here, you know, the foundation, the solid, the support, we are like the 2 pillars of Super Gamer Boys now at this point. Today we're going to be talking about the death of E3, PSVR 2 might need a price cut, and how Final Fantasy XVI has gone gold.
Yes!
But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Bumble Smash, Eddie Martin, and Kajoma01, and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates and Mama Mare. If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys, where you can support us starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1. You get episodes early and ad-free. So immediately after the recording or the live stream of this and recording, I edit it, ship it out to you guys as soon as possible so you can listen to it starting Monday night. Everyone else has to wait until Wednesday. And you don't have to listen to the ads. You have to listen to this ad, but you don't have to listen to the later ad, which can go on quite long, especially if JJ's on the show.
Well, got some good news for you. Should be a short ad today.
Yes, you can get that early and ad free. And you can also get Super Gamer Book Club early and ad free, 2 months early, in fact. And if you didn't realize, it is now a new month, which means last week, usually we try to do the last Friday of the month. So last week was released the Super Gamer Book Club episode about Grand Theft Auto. One of the all-time Vice City. Yes.
All-time classics.
All-time classics. So go check it out and hear our thoughts on how we feel about it today. 20 some years later?
22.
21. It came out in 2002. Yeah, exactly. 21 years later, does it hold up? what are our thoughts on it? We have very different starting points, which is interesting. My very first time ever touching it, and Adrian, he grew up playing it. So yeah, I think it's a good listen because
I don't know about grew up. I was plenty old. I was, a solid teenager.
Okay, all right. I mean, what, 2002? I guess for me, 2002, I was 9 years old.
I didn't play Vice City actually right when it came out. It was like a couple years later, so I was maybe about 15.
Okay. Yeah, I always forget you're a couple years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel like I just view you as like we're the same, but no, you're a wise old man.
I'm only old out here, not in here.
And if you're on the fence about supporting us over at patreon.com/supergamerboys, you can try Super Gamer Book Club for free by going to any of your favorite podcast apps and searching for it, or going to youtube.com/supergamerboys. In the free episode this month is Chrono Trigger with Eddie.
Another all-time classic.
Heck yeah, featuring Eddie and Chizo. That's a fantastic episode. Some very differing opinions on Chrono Trigger. Once again, my very first time playing it. The other three gentlemen have all played it before, and some people love it, some people hate it.
Some correct opinions and other opinions.
Yeah, there's good opinions and then other.
Right.
So go check that one out. And upcoming this month, Adrian, I will let you announce what the next book club game will be at the end of this month.
This month's book club game is the Nintendo DS Classic. Capcom spawned a generation of sequels and animes and mangas and whatever you want to say about it. And that's the Ace Attorney series, starting with Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
So good. Yeah, this is a game that I think it was pretty much the first game I picked up on my 3DS from the eShop. I purchased it from the eShop when it was still open.
R.I.P.
Because they had, it was like literally when I bought the 3DS, I was just flipping through the shop and under the sales section, and they had the trilogy on sale for like $10 maybe even less than that. And then there's like 3 other games in this series that were separate. They were like a couple bucks a piece. So I literally bought all like 6 games, all Phoenix Wright games, or like in that IP connected to it, for like less than $20 probably. It was awesome. I'm like, steal 6 games, less than $20. I'm in.
Thankfully, I paid my dues a long time ago. Now that was one that I was there for at the inception, so I still have all my DS carts right here lined up, baby. Oh yeah, you know how much these go for these days? It's kind of ridiculous.
Too much, probably too much.
What a series.
Yeah, so I enjoyed what I played with it so far, and I'm excited to finish it now. That is our book club game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's such a fun thing, and I think the other day I was trying to explain to someone, I couldn't think of the word, but then today it finally came to me when I was talking to someone else about it. But yeah, it's it's a visual novel mostly, honestly, and then like every once in a while they're like, all right, now you do some exploring, or you do like answer these questions. Like they'll give you like a little multiple choice, choose your own thing.
They give you a good little bit of input. You find clues on the scene. You do the trial.
Yeah, there's still a lot of input that you have to do, but I just love, I do love the moments where it is just kind of like feeding you a story. I'm like, oh man, this is juicy. This is good. Like, give me more.
It's so good.
I kind of wish it had just like a visual novel mode where I could just like, after I beat it, just like, I just want to like watch the story.
It all the way through.
Yeah. That would be sick. But yeah, so we will be playing through that and talking about it at the end of this month. We'll talk more about our Patreon later on the show. But for right now, I do want to give a shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate for allowing us to use their music on our show. We appreciate them. So very thankful that they let us use their incredible music each and every week. And you should show them love and support over on Apple Music or Spotify. Links to those are in the show description below here on YouTube or your podcast app, wherever you're listening. And I think that's about it. So now it's time to check the mail.
At least it would be if we had some questions this week. The mailbag is bone dry this week. There is nothing. 0 questions. What's going on in there in ye old Discord? I didn't even get anything in my social media.
Nothing.
What's going on over here, huh?
Nothing. Tell me.
Do I have to make some calls, and do I have to do this? I have to take my fist and hit it into my hand, to make you guys put some questions in there.
Gotta start breaking some kneecaps. Is that what we gotta do?
What do I gotta do? Do I gotta start slashing some tires, huh? Make you late for work? What's up? Let me know. I'll do it. We need questions.
So yeah, no questions this week. And before the show, I was like, if there's anything we can talk, like, was there anything? I was brainstorming, trying to think. I'm at a loss for anything to talk about. The only thing I was thinking of was like, and again, the Discord crew already saw it. I was like, oh, I put up some cool new shelves on my hobby station, to hold my paints. That's the nerdiest thing you've ever heard. But hey, if you want to hear more about my nerdy stuff, you can go over to Good Vibes with Garrett each and every week. There you go. There's a fun little plug for that. But no, I don't have anything for here. So what do you say we just move on to the nerdy news? Is that how this works?
We have no
choice. Is that how this works?
Right.
This is going to be a short episode, I guess. So look what you guys did. Look what you guys did. Now this is going to be a short episode. Dang it. Now I have to go to bed early. You kidding me? I got to go to bed on time tonight?
Now I got to hang out with my family. Oh, look what you did.
I got to go hang out with my family? I got to
hang out with my wife and kids.
Oh,
that's how you sound right now.
Jeez Louise. All right. Yeah, so there's no mailbag. Sorry. Unless someone at this moment, if someone can get on either in the chat or on our Discord and send us something, maybe we'll hit it up by the end of the show. But for now, it's now time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy nudes.
You know what? Just because there is no mailbag questions, we're going to punish you all, and we're going to have an extra log ad segment to make up for the time. We're just going to talk about
real
slow. I'm going to read the ingredients on the back of the W container. I'm just going to start reading the ingredients. I'm going to make you guys suffer for what you've done.
No, what you haven't done.
Or what you suffer for what you did not do. All right, this first news story comes to us from IGN, written by Rebecca Valentine. E3 has been canceled.
What's the thing that they do in the Catholic Church? What's the song that they sing?
I don't know.
I'm not Catholic. What I'm talking about?
No, I'm not Catholic. I have no idea.
Oh, you go ahead and you read. I'll sing in the background.
Okay, sounds you do your thing.
Go ahead. I'll freestyle it.
Okay. Almost a year after announcing its return, the Entertainment Software Association announced today to its members that this year's Electronic Entertainment Expo has been canceled. IGN can confirm. Two sources have confirmed to IGN that the organization announced the cancellation via an email sent out to its members today. The email said that while E3 remains... I'm sorry, it's hard to talk with you singing.
Look, we have to send it off properly, all right? It's dead. We gotta pay our respects.
We can pay our respects at the end. How about that? We can say our piece about it, and then we can be good, all right? Does that sound good? Okay. Oh, man. Let me see. The email said that while E3 remains a beloved event and brand, that the 2023 version simply did not garner the sustained interest necessary to execute it in a way that would showcase the size, strength, and impact of our industry. The ESA concludes the email by reiterating its commitment to advocacy work. It does not mention undertaking the show again in future years. Following IGN's report, the ESA issued the following public statement from Kyle Marsden, Kish Global VP of Gaming at ReedPop. This was a difficult decision because of all the effort we and our partners put toward making this event happen. But we had to do what's right for the industry and what's right for E3. We appreciate and understand that interested companies wouldn't have playable demos ready and that resourcing challenges made being at E3 this summer an obstacle they couldn't overcome. For those who did commit to E3 2023, we're sorry. We can't put on the showcase and you deserve, and that you've come to expect from ReedPop's event experiences. Press release adds that ReedPop and the ESA will continue to work together on future E3 events. The event was supposed to be held from June 13th through June 16th at the LA Convention Center and would have been the first in-person E3 since 2019. The event was canceled in 2020 due to COVID, and a digital version was held in 2021. The event was canceled again in 2022 in an effort to focus on a revitalized showcase that would set a new standard for hybrid industry events. I actually got an email. Did you get your email? Because I applied for the media press badge, so I actually got an email like, "Hey, sorry, like we're not like."
We know you apply for a badge. Guess what? You don't need it.
Yeah, they're just like, "Hey, like it's not happening this year. Sorry, like don't get your hopes up."
How mad do you think the ESA is? A, in general, and then B, at Ubisoft, because that. Do you think
the last
Ubisoft
minute
was the one? Right. They were like, that's what they were talking about when they were saying, or some people said that they couldn't put stuff together in time.
Yeah.
I feel like that was Ubisoft.
That was
and
a
then
little
they
jab
turned around,
at
they're
Ubisoft.
like, actually, we're going to be at Summer Games Fest. We were lying. Sorry. I would have been so mad if I was the ESA.
Oh, man. I'm sure they're absolutely just livid with, especially Ubisoft. I mean, I'm sure they're like frustrated with all the companies, but like, for Ubisoft to like last second be like, nope, we're out, and then like,
sorry,
and then
just kidding.
By the way, we're gonna be at Summer Game Fest. We're gonna be at the cool party.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Hey, this place is looking real lame right now. Let's meet you in 30 minutes at the so and so's house. You know, I think
say
that
you're
was
going home, and then I'll meet you at this restaurant here, and then we'll go do something.
Yeah, I think the worst thing about it was Jeff Keighley's what he tweeted out.
Not even 30 minutes.
Not even 30 minutes later.
And Summer Games Fest tweets the salute emoji. Oh yeah. Man!
In response to it, the salute emoji, and then also like the email, like less than an hour later. It was like within the hour. I got an email to my inbox from Summer Game Fest saying like, Summer Game Fest still happening this year. Get all your blah, blah, blah from these dates. Like all these people are going to be here. I'm like, oh my God. And I heard this on another,
burying them.
Yeah. Oh man. Just destroying them. And I forget if it was someone else on Twitter talking about it or if it was on a podcast I was listening to, but someone was like, does Jeff Keighley have beef with the ESA? Like, is there something there we don't know about? Because he was being vicious. Like, I mean, like with like the marketing of Summer Game Fest, just like
I thought
totally.
He did, didn't he?
I don't know.
Wasn't he like trying to work with them at one point to do E3 and they just weren't letting him have it? That's why he started the Summer Game Fest thing.
I think you're right.
I misheard that?
No. I think you're right, but I guess I just assumed since ReedPop was taking over E3, like. It was different, but maybe not. Maybe he really does still have some sort of again, this is all like
it's still the ESA.
This is just I just want to say this is all speculation. Like we don't know for sure, but it just comes off very
allegedly.
Very, very intense. I just don't want to get sued for libel, but right. I do want to say like it comes across very poorly on their end, but it's just like they're still warm. Like the body's still warm and they're just like, woo, Jeff is not party over here.
No, I think ReedPop is working with the ESA.
Yeah,
so
the
ESA
right.
is still involved. So that's why if he had beef with the ESA, that's why he would jump on the opportunity to clown him, which he did without wasting any time.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. They were right on that.
I'm glad my name's not ESA.
Hang on. So that news came out. What day was it? March 31st. And then this tweet came out.
That was Thursday?
Okay. So yeah. So here's the tweet from Summer Game Fest. Video game summer isn't canceled. # Summer Game Fest returns this June, featuring events, announcements, and updates from more than 25 of the industry's leading publishers, platforms, and developers.
Ubisoft.
Plus our spectacular showcase event live Thursday, June 8th from the YouTube Theater. And then there's a little graphic that says Summer Game Fest. Video game summer is still happening. Oh, man. Chill out, Jeff. Oh,
if
man.
I'm E3, we're done. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
Oh,
That's
never
it.
again. Never again.
We're good.
Man. So I'm looking forward to doing Summer Game Fest with you again, Adrian. It was fun last
year. We've already been doing it the past couple of years.
We've been doing it since the inception here. So, right. And those are some of our best viewed videos. So, hey, you know what? I'm sad. So here's the thing.
Add it to the list.
Rest in peace, E3. And I'm sad that I will never get to go with one. Because you know what? Since I was a small child, like that was my dream. When I first got
me too.
A Game Pro magazine in the mail and saw, coverage or watching G4 television, seeing coverage about E3, like reading about it, watching the recaps and stuff. Holy smokes. Like I wanted to go since I was like just a wee little kid. I'm like, one day I'm going to get to go.
Yep.
And now I'm an adult and I was like, that chance was getting closer and closer. Like, this is it. Like, and they're like, nah, joke's on you. Like, we're gone. We're out. Peace. I'm like, no, wait, this was a year. Like, I was going to
go to one before you cancel it.
I was going to do whatever it takes this year to make it happen. They're like, no, sorry, dude. You are like 30 years too late, dude. So sad day in that sense. Like, and especially throughout the day, seeing people's tweets with their memories and stuff. Like, so many, like, industry people have been going for decades, to this thing, the last 20 plus 30 years or whatever, because it's been around a long time. It's been having a long time. And so, yeah, it is sad that it's not going to be around anymore, but it does make sense, right? Like, I mean, we live in a digital age. Like, people, you can get all the same information out there, just doing a nice, clean little stream, and you don't get all the networking and stuff, but I don't know. Like, I get why it's changing. I don't like it, but I get it, I think.
Right. It makes sense. It's way easier to do a digital event, right? It's maybe a fraction of the cost because you don't have to fly people anywhere. You don't have to set up. Well, you have to set up camera equipment and whatnot. But you don't have to buy out hotel rooms. You don't have to pay the ESA for space on the floor. All that stuff literally can probably save companies at least maybe a couple $1 million when you think about it, with all the expensive totaled up.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
I totally get why they wouldn't want to do that. And the ESA, I think the only way that they would have gotten people out there is if they were, they tell a Nintendo or a Xbox, hey, we'll cover your setup fees, we'll cover all that, just come. I feel like maybe they would have had a different story, but there's no way. There's no way they could have afforded that. It would have been $10-20 million show at that point.
Yeah, I mean, and they were like, yeah, because you're talking about the ESA doing that for people. It's like,
right.
Like they haven't had a real show for a few years, like, well, last year they didn't have a show at all, and then previous years it's been digital, so it's like one of those things where, like, yeah, they I'm sure they don't even have the capital to do anything like that, to like kind of like have a little like startup program for people, like, hey, like just to like incentivize people coming back, after a few years, like, we'll chip in. It's like, no, they don't have, they're probably hurting. So, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Selkie's in the chat. He says, E3 is always fun. I'm a little unbothered by its cancellation, weirdly. And he says, I went twice. And yes, it for sure was super expensive for them to set everything up. Money saver to just stream. So much more direct and simple, and achieves exactly the same outcome. So yeah, 100%. Yeah, because I mean, again, the spectacle of it was so amazing. Like, again, I never got to go, but just seeing like videos and pictures of like Nintendo's setup, like full like Mario or Breath of the Wild or whatever it was, like displays, PlayStation having like Aloy, like dioramas and like statues and stuff. The Death Stranding, like having like the Sandporter bridges that they move around, like all these things like that. Those things cost a lot of money to have these like different statues and displays set up, let alone just like you said, like just the travel and getting people there. So it's like
that reminds me of did you ever get a chance to go to PSX?
No, that was another one. I was like, I'm going this year. And it literally was the year, I think, so it was the year we started the podcast. I'm pretty sure. I think that first year I was like, I'm going to go. We're starting this podcast. I'm going to do it. And then they're like, we're done. Like, we're not doing it anymore. I'm like, what? Why?
I'm so glad
man,
that I was able to go to a couple of PSXs, man. Those were so fun. Now,
incredible.
Granted, I can see why Sony would not want to put one on these days. It probably does cost a lot of money. But I do think it is a nice goodwill gesture to the consumer, to put on an event like that, because I don't think they do anything really for the rest of the year. So if you did this one thing, I don't think necessarily it would be the end of the world.
What's cool about PSX too is like E3 was like a way for them to like companies to announce big things, or again industry people to network. I've never been to a PSX, but from what I could tell from the outside, it was just straight up a celebration of PlayStation. Like it was just like all these fans got together and you still got to see some cool stuff, but it really was just a way to like, hey, we all love this thing. We're here to celebrate it and have fun. And I'm like, yeah, like that sounds
That's
sick.
exactly what it was.
Like, I just want to go and just like party with a bunch of PlayStation people and talk about PlayStation games and play some games and just like chill. That just sounds so awesome.
I was there when the year that they revealed that Naughty Dog was there and they revealed The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh,
I will never, ever, ever forget the pop when that preview video comes and it's like the woods outside and then it kind of creeps back a little bit and then there's that sign with the Fireflies logo and the place went nuts. But that's exactly what you're talking about. It's just people, we're all here for this common thing that we all love, and it's just there's an electricity in the air, whether it's at a press event or you're just walking around the floor. Everybody's excited to be there, and that there is something to that. Granted, like we said, the directs are cheaper to produce, but there's just something about being there, that sense of community, I think. And I think even for developers, being able to talk to the general public to, see that talk to the actual people that have interest in their products, it does a lot for them too. It kind of is a morale booster for them.
Right. So, to actually see the end user and interact with them and see their excitement and get feedback from them face to face. Like, I'm sure that's huge. I mean, with my job, I do some like web design stuff, and like that's always the best part is to actually like get on the Zoom call with the customer and like be like, here's what I made you, and like to see like their excitement and hear their feedback even and be like, oh, can you do this, or this is cool, but what if you, and like I'm sure it's exactly with games, like such a like in a creative field like that, like you want that feedback and that gives you the oomph to keep moving on, that energy to like that last win to like, all right, let's get this thing done. And it's sad that they just don't have those anymore, and they're dying off.
They don't do it like they used to.
Yeah, and like now, like okay, E3 is dying off, and I don't see like PAX dying off anytime soon, but no. I know those haven't been quite as popular as they were before COVID either. So that's like the bummer with that. I'm
still trying to. Matter of fact, I'm on the mailing list for when PAX West, when the tickets come out. So they need to hurry up and announce that.
Right? Yeah. Because
I got to go to one just in case. It suffers the same fate.
Yeah. Maybe what if we just start our own like PSX?
Oh yeah, you got about $3.5 million just laying around.
No, but like I mean, starting out, we could just like team up with a few people and just like rent out like a single conference room at a hotel, and then like as we get bigger and bigger, then we just one year like and start out more like again a celebration of PlayStation. Maybe PlayStation's not even there, and then like 4 years from now, when we're like huge, we'll be like, PlayStation, look, we're here, come show us stuff.
And they're gonna say, oh really? You're throwing an unauthorized PlayStation event, huh?
No, it's a party that just so happens to have balloons that have the PlayStation logo on it.
I'm not investing in this because I know exactly what Sony is gonna do.
There's nothing wrong. Shuhei would approve. He'd approve.
Shuhei would, but not Sony in general.
Mark
Sony, the board would shut us straight down. Are you kidding?
No. I mean, we're not claiming
such a wet blanket. He would shut that down immediately.
I mean, I'm not saying we call it a PlayStation. It's not like an official PlayStation event. We call it like it could just be like SGB Con. Like it's like, but it's like the idea is like, oh no, we're talking about PlayStation.
The first one is going to be you, me, JJ, and Kajoma.
Yeah, exactly. Selkies, you and Selkies in the chat. Selkies will join us. He'll fly down.
We're going to rent out a whole conference room for 6 people.
Hey, but you know what? You got to start somewhere, dude. You got to start somewhere.
I guess. I feel like we should have a good, we should at least be able to make our money back.
We can invite the Super NPC radio boys over.
Yeah. But then we'd have to charge them.
That's fine. We can do it in LA. Be like, hey, you know what, we're gonna hang out. They don't have to travel anywhere. They just help pay for the room. Suggies does say, he's like, that's all you need. It starts small and then boom, you're Jeff Keighley.
It's that easy.
It's that easy. Gotta start somewhere, dude. All right. So yeah, rest in peace, E3. We'll see if it comes back next year. They did mention like they say they look forward to working with ReedPop on E3 events in the future, but I have a feeling it's gonna be if E3 comes back, it's not gonna be E3. It's gonna be a whole new thing entirely with the name, you know, or like E3 presents, and it's gonna be like a little like maybe they're gonna start, you know, strictly doing digital stuff, which sounds not ideal. Like, I don't know. Like that's
You're just gonna be regurgitating whatever everybody. Nobody's gonna give you an exclusive. You're just gonna be saying the same things after.
Yeah.
All the companies have already made the announcements. So why am I gonna watch E3?
But you know what it is? It's just they're gonna start their own Twitch channel where they're just co-streaming.
The host is gonna react.
They're co-streaming and reacting to Summer Game Fest.
Oh no.
Take that, Jeff Keighley. All right. Well, I don't have much more to add to that other than stay tuned.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe one day they'll come back, but I highly
E3.
doubt it. Yeah. Rest in peace. All right. This next news story also comes to us from IGN, written by Ryan Dinsdale. PlayStation VR 2 reportedly off to an underwhelming start. Sony's PlayStation VR 2 is reportedly off to an underwhelming start, with the virtual reality headset only expected to sell 270,000 units by the end of March. And as reported by Bloomberg, the figure comes from research firm IDC, and while 270,000 is still a lot of headsets, reports last year indicated that Sony was looking to produce 2 million PSVR 2 units to be sold by the end of March.
Yeah, at $600. Okay.
Yep, that's what they said. Vice President of Data and Analytics at IDC Francisco. That's his name. I was like, they spelled San Francisco wrong. Vice President of Data and Analytics at IDC, Francisco Geronimo, told Bloomberg that Sony would need to cut the price of the PSVR 2 to stop its launch from being a complete disaster. The headset, which already sits at $549.99, is made even pricier by the additional $499.99 cost of the required PlayStation 5. Consumers around the world are facing rising cost of living, rising interest rates, and rising layoffs. VR headsets are not top of the mind for most consumers under the current economic climate, said Geronimo. I suspect a price cut on the PSVR 2 will be needed to avoid a complete disaster of their new product. The headset launched on February 22nd with 42 games, including headlining title Horizon Call of the Mountain and a variety of virtual reality updates for critically acclaimed games like Gran Turismo 7 and Resident Evil Village. And in our 9 out of 10 review, IGN said, with top-notch visual quality and immersive tactile sense controllers, PlayStation VR 2 represents a quantum leap over its predecessor, setting a new standard for console VR gaming. I don't know about that. It doesn't say it in this article, but I was reading in another one. Part of those 42 games that came out for it, though, pretty much all of them, other than the three mentioned, because they mentioned Horizon, Gran Turismo, and Resident Evil Village. So the other 39 games are all playable on elsewhere, either PSVR 1 or Oculus Vive. Yeah, so it's like,
and even then, this is one game in 2 modes. We went over this before. It's one full game for PSVR 2 and 2 VR modes in standard games.
Yeah. So the Gran Turismo, Resident Evil.
The other 2 are an afterthought.
Yeah, Resident Evil Village is just VR, like it's the whole game, but in VR, but it's technically a VR mode. And then Gran Turismo 7 is the whole game, but it's right, exactly. It wasn't like it's not a VR game. It's a game that allows you to also play in VR. So it's like obviously an afterthought, which is frustrating. You spend, let's see, a lot of money, like $1,100 on equipment here on console and VR headset, and you're like, all right, let's jump into this. Wait a second, I have this on my Quest 2.
There's only one game.
Wait a second. Wait. All right. Okay, Horizon. Yeah, I'll play Horizon. Oh, wait, that's it. I could.
I beat
Crazy.
it in 4 hours.
Absolutely crazy.
I spent $1,100 to beat a game in 4 hours.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But I mean, according to the expert, they gotta cut prices
Tremendously.
and yeah, and I agree. I mean, obviously I agree because he's an expert and I'm not going to disagree with an expert. But yeah, he's like, if they don't want this to be a complete disaster, like they got to do something. And they do. Like it's absurd. Like, so the original PSVR was pricey, but it wasn't more than the console itself, right? Like, I don't remember it being more than the PS4. And so it just blows my mind.
Same.
It was close. Yeah, it was around the same.
Close to it.
But it wasn't more.
You don't want to hear what my cut would be like. My cut would be pretty severe. I'm thinking like $379.
Yeah. I mean, I could see going 400 because it's on par. It's the same price as the digital console, but it's still $100 less than the disc console.
Right, but if I'm trying to save this thing and move units with one piece of software, no.
Oh yeah, no. At this point, with like they are 100. This is like
nuclear damage control. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to get these things out of the warehouse. So you know what? For the next
48 hours, get your PSVR 2 for $300.
But I'm saying for the foreseeable future, when I say slash, I mean like slash it down. Because the same thing happened with the 3DS. It started out, it was $250 and nobody was buying it. It wasn't moving units. And then they slashed it super. It was like 180, I think, 170 after that. And then what happened? It started flying out the door. Yeah. So they have to do something that drastic. And I think if it's me, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing $379, getting out the door, because that's less than the price of the console. And I think a lot more people, especially these days, economically, can stand to take that kind of a hit.
Yeah,
because $550 is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absurd. Like especially like, I mean, it'd be one thing like if I bought the disc console, I'd be like, oh, it's just $50 more than another PS5. Like, I mean, it still suck, but I'd be like, I feel like I could. In my twisted brain could justify it more, but since I bought the digital PS5, it's like, that's $150 more than the console. Like, why would I do that? Like, that doesn't make sense. I cannot do the mental gymnastics to justify that one. That's for sure.
The only thing is, it's a niche product, right? Like, that's the part where I can't justify it, because I'm gonna pay $550 and it does one thing: it plays VR games.
Right.
I can do infinitely more things with the base unit than with frankly, what is the accessory.
And at this point, too, I have a Quest 2, which plays all the games. So if I want to play one of those games
without wires, I can do that.
Maybe
the fidelity is less, but.
Or even with wires, I plug it into my computer and I can play any of the games in my Steam. Yeah, it turns into a Rift. So I'm like, wow, all right. So and that cost me $300 for that. Right. And it does both. I have the option to go completely wireless. I could run around in my backyard right now playing Beat Saber, or plug in, and I got a 20-foot cable that I can run around in my little 8x10 office. So they at this point they're bleeding. Like, it's a mortal wound. And if they don't,
1/10 of your forecast,
and if they don't
doing bad,
if they don't cauterize this thing soon, like, they're done. Like, that's it. It's sad. It's sad,
almost
really.
as if they should have seen that VR was a niche market and maybe saw what the trend is right now with hardware, which is portables. Sony portable. It's almost like they made a piece of hardware with portable in the name before that did very well.
Yeah, I think they did a long time ago. It's been a while, but there was something there.
Can't think of it.
Selkie says self-inflicted VR gunshot wound. Yes, exactly. Which, I mean, we all tried it, right? We all tried it. You jump in the Resident Evil and you're like, all right, does this work?
I was too terrified looking around. Dude, I was the last thing I thought about.
Just freaking out. Yeah, I don't know. It's sad. this blows my mind because you're right. They treated this. Not only do they not read the room, but then they treated it like, I don't know what information they're going off of because it's almost like, where did they? Because they could have made an affordable VR system, but they didn't. They're like, we're gonna make a boutique VR system because that's what people want, and we're like, no, we just want either. Yeah,
I want my PS5 to work good. Can we do that? Can we make that happen? Which they did. Granted, I will give them that. It works very well.
Great. PS5 is fantastic.
But they had to start development on this. What? I'd say at least 2017. Which means
at least 5 or 6 years.
And doing well, right?
At least 5 or 6 years. Yeah.
Right. They're not stupid, right? So they look at their competitors.
Well.
And they saw. Well, okay. You know what I mean? Like as a cohesive unit, they're not stupid. So they saw that the Switch was out and they saw that it was selling like gangbusters, and they said, no, we're gonna do VR instead. Really?
Yeah. And again, and the point that I was trying to get at is like, it's not even like an affordable VR headset. It's like, we're going to go boutique. It's bespoke. We're going to pay all this crazy money. And it's like, give us something cheap that works, that looks good. Like, that's what I want. I want junk food VR. That's what I want.
I don't even think in the grand scheme of things that PSVR 1, like, was successful enough to warrant doing another one. I feel like it was a fun experiment.
Yeah.
And like then that was it.
You hit the nail on that.
They only sold, 1 million units?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. Not that many, but yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. Like, PSVR 1 wasn't even that successful, but they're like, we're gonna make a sequel to it. Don't worry, guys. But then, like you mentioned, like the PSP back in the day,
sitting right there.
Like, that was extremely successful, and they're like
85 million units.
We're like, no more. We're full.
Which one would you rather have? The potential to sell multiple millions of units? Because look, even Vita's is a success compared to PSVR 2 right now, right? Vita at least sold 13 million.
Okay,
PSVR 2 is not even barely cracking a quarter of one.
So PSVR, the first one, came out in October of 2016. And as of January, the last number that Statista has, I'm not doing super deep research, but Statista.com, as of January 2020, they sold 5 million units.
Okay, so now look up how much the Oculus family has sold.
Nothing to shake a stick at, but still. I mean, a lot more than that. Let me see. Let me just look up even like the Quest 2. Quest 2 sale specifically has sold nearly 20 million units.
And you want to keep going?
Crazy.
Okay.
What about like the Rift? Huh? Let me like look at.
Same deal.
Do they even make the Rift anymore? What's the new one?
Rift S.
The Rift in 2021 sold 6.1 million units, which is still destroys still 1.1 million more than PSVR. And that's what's crazy is they got that number and people still have to buy like a $1,500 computer to go with it
on top of that to run it.
So and that is one thing I do want to touch on, that because I've had people like rebut us and be like, well, the reason like that's not an absurd price. Like, people are used to spending $1,500 on a computer and then buying like a $500 headset, like the Rift, or a $400 headset, whatever, like the Rift or whatever back in the day. And I'm like, right.
Yes, the Rift is also much higher fidelity than even PSVR 2 is right now. The Vive and the Rift. Do you understand how much more complex those headsets are? You know, for the Vive, you have to set up cameras around you so that it can capture you in the environment.
Yeah. And even like down to like the power of the PC. It's like we're talking on completely different levels. And I think that's the other
spectrums.
That's the other issue too, is like and maybe that's what really the biggest mistake on Sony is they tried to make a competitor to PC VR headsets, and not only is that like an incredible undertaking, but it's not what console players wanted. Console players are very much happy with like, if just give me like something
that just made their own
looks
Quest
halfway
2
decent, you know,
that somehow has like Wi-Fi Direct or Bluetooth Direct to the PS5. That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
and then make it like a Quest 2.5, you would have been just fine. You would have been just fine.
Yeah. It's like if I wanted that incredible fidelity,
I would get a Vive. I would get a Rift. I would get an Oculus
exactly.
Quest.
I would buy a decked out computer and I would buy a Vive or a Rift. If I'm buying a VR headset for a console, it's because I just want like this easy, simple console setup. And as long as you were better than the PSVR 1, I would have been happy. I would have been happy. Like, and they are better, but that's the thing. They tried to like shoot the moon with this one. I'm like, oh, take it easy, boys. Like we need to be able to afford.
At what cost?
We got to afford this thing. We got to be able to buy this thing from you. So, yeah, I just feel like there are two different markets happening here. Like there's a console VR market and a PC VR market. And unfortunately, Sony's like, we're going to fight against the PC VR market. It's like, they're not your competitors. That's one thing with like, again, I'm going to reference my job again, but like we do consultations with some of our clients, and like so many of our clients are like, oh, we want to compete against X, Y, or Z company. And we're like, why? Like realistically, like they're not they are so beyond you. They are not your competitor. These are your competitors. And if you can beat these people down here that are at your level, you're going to kill it. You should not be trying to beat like this nationwide multi-billion-dollar company or whatever. It's like you're a local XYZ company. Stick with this area. And if you can kill it locally, you're gonna do great. Like that's all that matters. And that's what Sony was trying to do. Like we're gonna go for the nationwide thing. It's like let's stay local here. Let's stay in. Don't kill yourself.
Yeah, they have to do a severe price cut at this point. And they also need to come out with way more software. Like by the end of this year, there needs to be at least 3 more Sony-backed VR built from the ground up experiences coming out. And I expect to see more at State of Play for E3 or whatever it is.
If the Summer Game Fest, State of Play, they don't have any new games, VR2 it's dead in the water. It's done. That's it. Like, there's going to be a price cut, and it's because they're discontinuing it. Like, everyone's going to have it on sale for $150.
That's going to be such a short run. Is that the shortest Sony product?
If that was to happen, yes, I think so. But I hope that does not happen. But if that were to happen, I think that would beat the record.
Man,
I don't know. We'll see.
I'd
be curious. So
dude.
Yeah, I haven't done a ton of research. So, because off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember the release window for games for the original PSVR. Because I feel like they
didn't come in a very fast clip either.
They kind of had a stutter start at the beginning of the PSVR launch as well, but I don't think it was this bad. So again, I can't talk confidently about that. I have to do some research. Maybe we can talk about it down the road. Then I'm sure they'll be on the news again soon. We've talked about them like 3 times in the last 6 months. We'll just I'll have to look into that and be like, okay, just to be able to actually compare how was PSVR 1 launch versus what 2's have been doing so far, because
I could tell.
Honestly, I think they're pretty similar. Probably, which again is surprising that they tried a second time, because so far it seems to be going about as good as the first time around. But I don't know.
Yeah, nothing that they had was like stuff that wasn't already on another platform. Same deal. Okay. For PSVR 1, I don't think.
Other than like Resident Evil 7 in VR was terrifying.
Look, like Job Simulator was on PC. Keep Talking Nobody Explodes was on PC.
Right. Yeah.
Thumper was probably on PC. So they're in the same boat again.
Same boat, but the pricing structure was different. So again, at that point, like it was like, oh, okay, I can spend $300 on a Vive or $300 on the PSVR. I already have a PlayStation. I don't have a $1,500 computer that can run VR, so it made sense. So I was fine with that. I was fine with the game selection because the VR I didn't have the other one, and this was cheap enough as an entry point. But again, we're talking in circles, but that's the mistake they've made this time. Is like,
here we go. Sony backed or Sony published PSVR games. PSVR 1.
Until Dawn, that rail shooter thing, right?
1.
Okay.
Astrobot was 2. Astrobot was great.
Oh, yeah.
Firewall, 0 Hour, that was the one that you had to buy the gun for, was mid.
Right.
PSVR Worlds was a tech demo. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, PS. That was not a game. That was not a game at all.
Farpoint, same deal. You had to buy the
gun attachment.
You had to buy the thing for it. Yep. Moss was on other platforms. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, no, Moss initially was a PlayStation exclusive. It wasn't until years later that came to everything else. Yes. Moss was a PlayStation exclusive initially. It came to Steam and everything. Like it was like 2 or 3 years later, I think.
So for the good old price of about $349 to $399, you got 2 good games, a tech demo, and a couple of gun games from Sony.
Yeah. But then like you said,
the rest of the weight.
Yeah, like you said though, a lot of third-party games, which at that price point made sense though, because it's like, oh, this is an entry-level VR. I already have the PS4. I've had it for a bunch of years, and I don't have a computer that can run it. Like that makes sense. But yeah, this seems crazy to pay $600 for a bunch of third-party stuff.
I guess. I don't know.
Like if the third-party stuff is good and I don't have the other thing, then this makes sense. But the fact that it's like, okay, yeah, again, like the price point is just, that makes a big difference. Like that $200 swing, $300 swing, that makes a big difference there.
Huge.
So like if PSVR 2 was at that $350 price point, I'd be like, okay, yeah, you know what? If I didn't have a Quest 2, I'd be in.
I would, right, but I do.
But I do have it, and it doesn't make sense.
Hopefully it turns around. You never want to see a product fail, of course.
Yeah.
But we got to be realistic here. So hopefully, here's hoping that there's some things at State of Play that are gonna blow people's socks off.
Oh, definitely. I do just want to say, I'm just going to get out ahead of this right now. The last time we've gotten negative comments on our videos, extremely negative comments, was when we talked about PSVR 2.
Bring it
so
on.
I just want to say to you, hey, you know what?
Scared?
You know what I want to say to you who's about to like angry rant in the chats right now in the comments? Thank you for watching this video. We appreciate the view. And if you wouldn't mind giving us a thumbs up, that would be fantastic. Subscribe to the channel. So next time that we talk about PSVR 2.
And if you're that same cat who came on and said that PSVR was going to do numbers and it was just so fantastical, where are you at now?
Yeah.
270,000 out of a 2 million projection? Where you at? You're awful quiet.
Not doing so hot. But yeah, no, I appreciate the view and give us thumbs up and subscribe. So next time we talk about PSVR 2, you can talk trash again in the comments. Appreciate it. Gemin Heels is in the chat. Says, "Sup nerds, what's up, Gemin?" And then Selkie says, "Nerds can't keep up with SGB and their base takes on VR2 being $1 billion." Truth. Facts. All right. This last news story is from GameSpot, written by Darren Bonthus. Final Fantasy XVI has gone gold ahead of its June release. Nearly 3 months ahead of its scheduled release date, Square Enix has announced that Final Fantasy XVI has gone gold, meaning the game is ready to be pressed onto disc, though development will still continue. On Twitter, the studio marked the milestone with a photo of staff and a Torgal plushie celebrating. Mastered up today, the tweet reads, "Both the staff and Torgal are delighted." Do you know what a Torgal is? Is that from another Final Fantasy game?
Say again, I'm sorry?
Torgal? They say it's a Torgal plushie. It's like a little dog thing. Is that like a character from Final Fantasy?
Wait a minute. Let me.
You gotta look at this tweet.
Not a Moogle?
No, it's a Torgal. It just looks like a little stuffed like husky dog, basically.
Isn't that the character from the game?
I don't know, maybe. I'm going to be completely honest. I've only watched one trailer for Final Fantasy 16, and it was the one when they first announced that the game was even exist. So that's the only trailer I've watched of this game.
Yeah, I don't think
it's like a wolf thing. It's like some wolf.
I think that's new. That's a new character.
Okay, so it's from the new game.
It's from 16. Yeah, it's probably the new mascot for 16.
Final Fantasy XVI is the first mainline game in the series since 2016's Final Fantasy XV. There have been a few other Final Fantasy games released in the years since then, such as Final Fantasy VII Remake, but the release of a core numbered entry in the series has become a rare occurrence. Back in April last year, producer Naoki Yoshida said that the development team had entered the finale of Final Fantasy XVI's development, and by November, main director Hiroshi Takai, is that right? Said that development was 95% complete. I love that precision there. 95% complete, exactly. No more, no less. It will be a PS5 exclusive for at least 6 months. Will forego the series' traditional turn-based combat for more character action-like battles, similar to Final Fantasy XV, a high fantasy epic that mixes a more action-packed approach with unique icon battles. The game takes place in the war-torn world of Valistia and centers around the dominance of gifted individuals who can wield the power of icons. Officially launched on PlayStation 5 on June 22nd. So you're a big Final Fantasy fan. I'm a newbie just with Final Fantasy VII Remake, but are you excited about this game? Have you pre-ordered this game? What are your thoughts on this going gold?
I am not excited about this game in the slightest, Garrett. It looks awful. I don't know why you think I would be interested in Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy in general. Please do not insult me like that again.
I'm sorry. Why? I should have known better. I shouldn't assume. How dare I assume that because you like
Square
other
Enix games that involve Final Fantasy as well, huh? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Final Fantasy and characters incorporated into other Square Enix projects. You think I would like something like that?
You know what, Adrian? I apologize. I'm sorry for being just so ignorant and thinking that you would just love every Final Fantasy game that comes out. So I'm absolutely stoked.
I cannot wait for this freaking game. I don't know what else to say. It looks gorgeous. Everything I've seen is hyping it up. I've played very little Final Fantasy XIV, but I can tell you that what I have played, even though most people say, "Oh, it's the intro," it's not. It's the least of all the content. I've been having a good time with it. If it's that team behind it, I am more than confident, at least for the story. So I don't know what else to tell you. There is not a thing that I'm not excited for, except for the comments that were made about the historical accuracy of the giant battling gods game.
Absolutely absurd.
So
yes,
they honestly should have just never answered that question. But here we are.
Like I said, I haven't watched any other trailers other than the very first one when they first announced that it even existed, and it looked dope. I'm not gonna lie, it looks freaking awesome.
I think you would like it. If you like 7, I think you would like this one. 7 Remake, I should say.
Okay, and that's what I was gonna ask. Like, is this one worth trying? Because I picked up 15 because it was like dirt cheap on sale one time. And you had mentioned like, oh yeah, you probably like 15 too, because it's kind of a similar combat kind of style in that. And I just haven't had a chance to touch it. But now that this one's coming out, I was like, well, maybe I just totally forget about 15 and just move on to 16.
I don't know about forget about 15. I think 15 is still it's not necessarily like the peak of Final Fantasy games, but it's definitely worth being played. The main characters, I think, are the best part of it.
Right. So. Okay. But I'm also, this winter, we're supposed to be getting the next part of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Well, if you start in June, if you start 16 in June, by the time you're done, you'll be ready for Rebirth.
Man, I'm really excited for that game.
I'm excited for both of them.
I totally forgot that the next part 7 Remake was even coming out this year, and I was reading some article the other day, and it mentioned it. I'm like, oh, it's coming back.
We're
finally.
I'm
so excited. I haven't even had a chance.
Fans are eating so good right now. You got 14 still ongoing, going strong. It's bigger than ever. You got high off the heels of 7 Remake. We're getting ready to get the second part of that. And then you got 16 getting ready to drop as well.
Well, we got the Crisis Core remake too, which I haven't even been able to touch yet. Like, I was just like, oh, I was so excited for that game, and then like there's been so many other games at the beginning of this year. I haven't touched it.
Fans are eating so good right now. You have no excuse to be upset with anything right now. There's something for everybody.
I feel like for the next like 3 book clubs, we just need to make it like Crisis Core remake, We can do.
They'd have to switch to quarterly book clubs. If
we can do Final Fantasy 15 book club. When 16 comes out, we can do Final Fantasy 16 book club. At the end of the year, we can do Final Fantasy remake. Let's turn it into the Square Enix book club. Like we just talk about Square games, you know. Oh man! Always need to start a separate podcast. Start a podcast just about Final Fantasy games. That's all we do.
You joke?
Just you introducing me to Final Fantasy games.
You joke, but there are multiple people who would be down. Like if we told people, "Yo, pick your favorite Final Fantasy and play it," and then when we're ready,
Eddie would lose his mind.
Oh my god,
he'd have a freaking seizure if we told him about that. He'd be like, "Are you kidding me? What?"
I'm stoked for 16. I can't wait for it. I know there's no way it's gonna be straight up bad, right? At the very least, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Just based on the quality of what we've seen so far alone.
Man. Selkie says, I would tune in, guest, listen, and enjoy every second of that. So maybe there's something to it. Maybe
I'm just saying.
Start up a new show. That's it. Shut it all down. We're starting a new podcast.
Final Fantasy Boys.
the super fantasy boys. No, wait.
I think that might be a JJ thing. We might need to look into that actually.
Well, that's all I got for the news this week, unless you have anything else to add about Final Fantasy here. I'm gonna say there is a rumor floating around that Final Fantasy X, we might be getting Final Fantasy X-3. Because Final Fantasy X is one of the rare Final Fantasy titles that have a 2-part. So it's 10 has 10-2 and 13 has 13-2 and 13-3, but they call it Lightning Returns. So there was like some hearsay, I don't know if it was just people talking, that somebody over at Square Enix on the Final Fantasy team was kind of noodling around with the idea of a Final Fantasy X-3. And if we see anything about that at E3 this year, not E3.
We're
not going to see anything at E3 this year, Adrian.
If we see anything at Summer Game Fest this year, or whatever the Square Enix event is going to be, even if it's just a splash page that says Final Fantasy X-3, I cannot be held responsible for whatever noises or maneuvers that my body happens to perform.
I mean, it looks like in the chat, Selkies is losing his mind. Like you've already piqued his interest. He might be doing some crazy dances over there as well. I mean, you don't have to answer this because I don't want you to spoil it, but because I've never played 10. Other than whatever was on that. Was it a Pizza Hut demo or something? There was some demo I had that had just the beginning, and I played that over and over again. Did 2 leave? Did it end in such a way that left a cliffhanger, or would it be kind of scraping the bottom barrel? Be like, oh, let's see how we can extend the story a little bit.
I don't know how I can go about telling.
If it's gonna be too spoilery, don't answer it. But it just in my head, it seems weird that 10 plus years after the game came out, also you know what, we can add a little bit more to that. It's can you? I mean, why didn't you think of it back then?
10 and 10-2 are definitely if they left it there, which they did, it'd be all right, that's all wrapped up. But I think there are avenues that they can go down to make up a premise for the third one. Or maybe it could take place, way later in the timeline and everybody's older and it's their kids or, something like that. Or
okay. So just in the same world, but not necessarily the same character story.
Well, it has to be the same characters. When you do a number sequel, it's with that same cast.
Okay. Huh.
So that's usually how that works anyway. But yeah, I don't know. 10 is universally loved. It's my favorite Final Fantasy. I also really like 10-2. A lot of people don't like 10-2. I like both of them. Zetch, I always tell him it's a package deal. You have to play 10 and 10-2. I don't care what he tells you. You have to play 10 and 10-2. That's why they put them together. Okay? All right.
Deal. I'm in. All right. Well, that's it for the nerd nudes this week. I do want to say, even though we did not have a mailbag segment, we are sitting at like an hour and 10 minutes. I don't know.
That's because we just talked about Final Fantasy for 25 minutes.
We talked a lot of news, and somehow, yeah, we've padded the show out. We thought it was going to be a short episode. This is going to be a full.
I mean, we're near the end now, so we're going to at least maybe do an hour 20.
It's going to be a big boy episode. All right, it is now time for our Patreon ad. This is the part of the show where I tell you to go over. I'm talking too fast. I gotta slow it down. Take a deep breath. This is the part of the show where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and support us over there, starting at just $1 a month. That's right. You can support us starting at just $1. Get episodes early and ad-free, such as this show, such as Super Gamer Book Club. And we very much appreciate all of those who support us over there at just $1 a month. You can also support us $5 a month to get episodes early and ad-free, and you would get the show notes ahead of time. So Sunday nights, usually when I do the show notes, or Sunday afternoons, you'll get those. You'll be able to read that over, see all the news, all the listener questions, if you have them, which, by the way, write them in. Because you done messed up. We didn't have mailbag this week. So go over supergamerboys.com/Discord. Join our Discord for free over there. But what was I getting at? You can see our show notes early, and you can leave your own questions, comments, concerns on the news stories, on what you plan, on the listener questions. Like, we want your feedback and your answers on the show that we do each and every week. So if you want any of those things mentioned on the show, your thoughts about the PSVR 2, your thoughts on E3, you could have left those thoughts on the doc. We would have read them here on the show. Unless you're here live, then, you get stuff read out from the chat. But if you're not going to be able to make it live, think about supporting us at $5 a month. $10 a month, you get shout outs in the show each and every episode. And at the $15 big dog tier, you are going to be able to pitch us a segment. So we've had in the past, Losing Reviews was one of the original ones from our original Patreon producers back in the day. Technically, kind of our Super Dungeon Boys podcast was a spinoff kind of an idea from someone about doing a D&D show. Tall Tales of JJ. We've had a lot of different segments that we've done throughout the years. Even Super Indie Boys was once a segment that Adrian, when he was a Patreon producer, he pitched. So think about supporting us over there. We'd very much appreciate the support. Helps make our show better, buying games, equipment, whatever we need to help keep making cool things for you guys. You can also subscribe over on Twitch. That's right. If you are watching live on Monday nights when we record live, or any other time, sometimes we do random streams on other nights, twitch.tv/TheSuperGamerBoys. You can subscribe over there for free. That's right. If you have Amazon Prime, that means you can link it to your Prime, to your Twitch account, and use your Prime Gaming sub. Cost you $0, and we get $5 out of the deal, and we very much appreciate that. So if you're just, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your sister, or whoever has Amazon Prime, and it's just sitting there, ask them, hey, can I link it? Can I link it to my Twitch account? It won't affect anything on their end, and it allows you to give away a free sub each month, and you get our sweet emotes. Think about supporting us over at Twitch. And the last thing here, we are sorry, I'm scrolling through my run of show real quick. Sponsored by W.GG. That's right, we are partners with them. You can use our code SGB, get 10% off, and we get a little bit of a kickback. That's right. So you get 10% off, and they pay us a little extra money. So think about going to W.GG to get some good energy that has no crash, no jitters. Fantastic flavors, gluten-free, sugar-free, and man, it also features the patented neurofactor, which helps you think real good. Anything you've ever heard in the past about this from JJ does not do those things. I promise you, does not. Despite what Adrian is shaking his head and saying yes, I think he's does not do those things. But think about heading over there. You can also get some awesome shaker cups from them as well. They have like a cool little sampler pack. It's like $15 bucks. You get the 2 samples and a Sick Shaker Cup. So think about supporting us over there at w.gg. All right, that's it for the ads. Now, let's get back to the show. All right, this is the part of the show, Adrian, where I ask you, what you playing?
So I've actually been playing a couple different things. For whatever, I got this strange urge to finally start playing Returnal. And it is really, really, really good. It's really fun.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, Returnal is how can I say this? It's an arcade game and a roguelike put together. So you play as a astronaut who responds to a distress signal and ends up crashing on a planet. But what she finds out is over time is she's finding these bodies throughout exploring the planet, and it turns out that they're old versions of her. So you're going
spoilers.
No, it's in the trailer. It's in the trailer.
Okay.
But you're going through trying to figure out exactly why this keeps happening. Is there something tied to it? And the way that you do that is you explore the planet in different sections and maps and areas like that, and then you're equipped with different weapons and abilities. You know, you pick up different buffs and debuffs and items, just like you would for a roguelike. Except it's played over the shoulder in third person, so it plays like a shooter.
Okay.
It makes really good use of the DualSense haptics. Looks really good. 3D audio is crazy in that game. This is like the first time that I'm like, oh, okay, this is what 3D audio is supposed to be. Because everybody else just sounds like really good headphones, but this is like I can hear. It's so detailed. Like when she has a helmet on, it sounds like the noise is coming from right here, and then when it zooms out behind the shoulder, then it comes out into everything. Whoa. But it sounds like where her mouth would be in the helmet, and I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty trippy."
That's crazy. Yeah. So it feels like you're wearing the helmet almost.
Right. Damn. It's really the world is very muted, but the enemies are very vibrant and they attack, and it's easy to see their attacks and dodge them and things like that. Yeah. So that game rules. I've been playing it, whenever I get the itch for a few runs here and there. It's beatable, I feel like. I think you just have to get the right perks and get the right run, just like any roguelike, and you can make it to the end.
Okay.
The other thing I've been playing, which I just started earlier today, is Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Ooh, baby.
My goodness. Is this game firing on all cylinders, dude?
Yes.
It is good. Absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful game, especially on OLED.
Especially on OLED.
Yeah.
It is shining so bright and so vividly on OLED. It's cute as heck. Everything about it, down to the last detail.
Have you met Kirby yet?
Yes. Yeah.
I love it.
I tweeted out a picture. I'm like, if this is the way that this is just starting out, this is going to be a good time. And the music is absolutely phenomenal. I can't believe this game got snubbed at the Game Awards. Was it even nominated for Best Music? I don't think so, right?
I don't remember now, but I do remember that it pretty much didn't win. I don't think it won anything, which is
I don't know how, dude. This game is phenomenal. I barely scratched the surface, and what I've played has been excellent so far.
2022 it came out last year, right? 2022. Yeah.
But it looks so good on OLED. I'm like, do I even want to dock it, or do I just want to keep playing it on OLED? That's how good that game holds up. I mean, granted, you get the bigger picture and you get more resolution if you dock it on the TV, but those colors, they shine. They're so vibrant on OLED.
It won Best Family Game.
It should have won Best Soundtrack.
Yeah.
And it should have been nominated for art design.
Yeah, it wasn't even nominated.
Levels.
It wasn't even nominated for anything else. So it won Best Family Game, and that's it. crazy.
They look like paintings, how good they are. I don't know.
Yeah, I've only played just a touch of it, just the first couple levels, like kind of get through this like tutorial stuff, and yeah, that my first reaction was like, this game is gorgeous. Yeah, the music's fantastic. I love the new mechanic with like sucking things into your
Taking
mouth and
over
it becoming
objects,
like so funny, so awesome. Yeah, absolutely incredible game. That's another one I want to jump into. I originally got it because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play this with my son, and then he wasn't really connecting with it at the time. At least I think he would probably now. Like he's a lot more competent with the video games now, even just over the last year. But yeah, such a fantastic game, and yeah, the fact that like no one was really talking about it. Like not only did it get snubbed at Game Awards, but I feel like at the time, like people, all you saw was the images of like, oh, Kirby, haha, that's so cute, and like, but that was it. Like in my circles, like you rarely heard people being like, oh, this game is great. This, like, you didn't hear about the actual gameplay. You just saw like, oh, cute, ha, and then like that was it.
I heard outlets talking about it, how good it was, and I knew HAL Laboratory always does good work, right? Their worst stuff is always okay, at the very least. They don't make bad games.
Yeah.
But for everybody to go, no, this is like the best game HAL Laboratory has ever made, is like, whoa, that's a big claim, and it's delivering. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So
yeah, that's what I've been playing this past.
That's
week.
awesome. So good.
Games are cool.
Games are cool.
Those are two games on completely different sides of the spectrum, and both are great experiences, dude. Games are so cool.
I love that you're playing Returnal. I had not touched that one. It was one I was curious about when I first picked up my PS5, because the PS5 was a PS5 exclusive. I think it's on PC now. Mm-hmm. But when I first got my PS5, I was like, do I get this? But I mean, as everyone on all the listeners of the show know, like I am generally averse to like roguelike games and like more high difficulty, high skill level games like that. Like, and that's what a lot of people told me before, is kind of like, oh, like it's very like, oh, it's a roguelite, and it's like almost like Soulsborne-ish, where it's just like, oh man, it punishes you. It's hard, it's difficult. But
I would believe you if you didn't play Hades, because you loved Hades.
I did enjoy Hades. Yeah. So maybe I need to give it a shot one time. I need to check my library. I almost feel like it was given away for free at 1.2, so I might even own it now. And
it's part of the PlayStation Premium. So if you have Premium, it's free.
There you go. So it gives me no excuse now. Maybe one day I'll get to that. I at the very least need to add it to my library so I have access to it in the future. Okay, well, what have I been playing? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm turned into a JJ, just a one-trick pony now. Just playing more Hollow Knight. I know
he didn't show up.
I only said it once. If I said it 2 more times, he might show up.
The Hollow Man. Wait, isn't there already a thing? No, he's the Hollow Man now.
He's the Hollow Man.
If you say Schmallow Schmite too many times, he'll show up.
This game though is, I mean, I don't need to go into it because I've said it every week about how amazing it is, but it just continues to blow my mind. Because I think it's amazing to me because, I mean, and you guys know me, I fall off of games quick. Like if I'm not feeling it, I'm like, nope, wipe my hands of this and move on. Like I'm out. And so this one has its like claws so deep in me, I cannot stop playing it. And unfortunately I've had very little game time recently, just with a lot of busyness in life, between work stuff, life stuff, and just being like tired. I'm like, oh, it's like 8:30 and I just want to go to bed. Like I'm not, I don't want to stay up. Or
I feel that.
Yeah. Or like if I am staying up, it's like, oh, I gotta stay up and like work on something, It's like, so it's been nice to just be like in those brief moments of free time to just sit down with some Hollow Knight, and it's just so good. It still just surprises me. Again, I've been playing it for a few weeks now, and I still like blows my mind. I'm like, this is not my kind of game. Like, why is it sticking with me so hard? But it is. And everyone needs to go play it. Please go play it. If you're not, you're messing up, because it's not my game and I'm loving it. So that should be a testament to how great this game is.
Sounds like it is your game then.
Yeah, it is my game, I guess. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've played that I can talk about, but really.
I got one. I messed around with Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, on my Steam Deck.
Oh, on the Steam Deck. How's that run on there?
Yeah, it actually, you would honestly be surprised. It runs at a solid 60.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
800p solid. I could definitely see, like, you know, if I was intending on doing a full playthrough, that's a valid option with how well it plays. I mean, it was a straight 60, no stutter, and on that screen, on that, you know, Steam Deck screen, 800p looked just fine. So shout out to Steam Deck for that.
That's crazy. Yeah, Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, they gave it away for free on PlayStation Plus a few months back, so I snagged it on there because. As everyone, to my shame, I have not played any Mass Effect games other than the first couple hours of Mass Effect 3 because it was free on PlayStation Plus when I first got my play.
Every time you tell this story,
I know it blows everyone's mind. I just got my PS4 and they were still giving away PS3 games for free at that point, and so I picked up or no, I didn't have my PS4 yet. I still had my PS3. Yeah, and I picked up Mass Effect 3, and I love everyone's reaction at it. Like, why would you start playing the third one when there's 2 other games before it? But I'm excited to one day go. It's one of those games I'm happy is in my library. Like, I have it. We're good to go. Like, I just need to find a time. If it's ever a book club game or something, it's like, I'm ready to do it because I got it. But that's awesome that it runs good on the Steam Deck because not that I plan on picking it up for the Steam Deck because, again, I already own it somewhere else. Not that that's stopped me before because I'm pretty sure I own a lot of games other places and I also bought on the Steam Deck again. But it's in it. You said 60 FPS, but how does it look? Like, does it look?
It's very crisp.
Okay.
It's it's not going to be like, again, it's just a remaster of a game that came out in 2006, 2007. Right.
So a very good looking remaster though. Like, even looking at
it looks fantastic.
PS5 and Xbox Series X screenshots, like, it looks good. Right. They did a good job with the remaster.
But I'm saying I wouldn't expect it to be like, oh, it runs at 4K or, you know, anywhere near 4K. But for 800p, I think they did a very good job. Even though it's not verified, so it's not necessarily optimized for it.
Oh, interesting. Does it say why? Because usually, like, it's funny. Sometimes the reason it's not verified. Oh, okay. Sometimes the reason it's not verified, I've read it, it's like the text is hard to read in some points or something like that. I'm like,
they claim that, but I think it works just fine, and you can always bump up the text size. But yeah, it's really the launcher because you have to jump through a lot of hoops.
Okay.
But you have to do that with every EA game.
Right.
So if they were to just simplify that, I feel like it would have been verified with how well it plays. So
okay.
Dang.
Yeah. It's awesome. You heard it here first. Go play Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. All right. Well, that will be it for the show this week. Thank you all so much for joining us here. We appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to listen on your favorite podcast app, watch us over here on YouTube. Remember to hit subscribe if you're on podcast service. If you just happen to be, I don't know who listens to a podcast and didn't subscribe to it first, but if you did, thank you and think about subscribing. Same thing on YouTube. We appreciate a thumbs up, a like over there, and subscribing to that channel. It's all free. It doesn't cost you anything to shoot a little subscribe and leave a comment down below. Tell us about what is your favorite boba flavor. If you go for boba tea, what do you like to get?
Matcha, baby.
I've never tried. I've been drinking like a cup of matcha each morning. That's like, instead of a cup of coffee, I have a cup of matcha as per your suggestion there. It's fantastic. I love it. Much better than coffee, honestly. But I've never tried it like in anything else. So maybe I need to try that next time I go to my boba place.
There you go.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. You guys are all fantastic. Thank you for all the views and for the listens. And we are just thankful to have awesome supporters like you. And also awesome supporters who go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and support us for even just $1 a month. You guys are all superheroes in our eyes. We couldn't, keep up with a lot of the newer games and stuff that as we do without that support, getting a a Steam Deck, a console, or buying lights for someone, or JJ's a new microphone cable a couple weeks ago. Like, it's stuff like, it's not even just the big stuff like games and movies or whatever consoles, but it's also the little stuff like making sure, our microphone arm or a microphone cable is working. So thank you all so much for that little support there, or a lot of support. Some of you, it all is fantastic and all appreciated. If you want to support us even more, another avenue, and you want to get something a little more tangible in return, you can go to sgbstore.com and buy some merch, get a t-shirt, get a mug, drink that cup of matcha each and every morning out of it. You can get stickers, all sorts of fun stuff over there. And let me see, what else do I have over here? W.GG, you can use our code SGB, get 10% off, and we get a little bit of a kickback. Shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate for allowing us to use their music on their show. Again, fantastic people, fantastic tunes, and they deserve all the love and support. So go over to Apple Music or Spotify. Links are in the description below on YouTube and podcast services. Make sure to scroll down a little bit, click on those, give them a listen, save those to your regular playlist because they're fantastic. You can find us during the week at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. I am on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. And Adrian, where can they find you at?
You can find me any and everywhere at Homeboy.
That is right. And you can find JJ at the Boot Convention. And that's
front
all.
Of the line.
Front of the line. And that's all I got for this week's episode. Adrian, do you mind taking us out?
Well, folks, another week in the can, and we just, as always, want to say thank you for hanging out and listening to the podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you that listen and watch, not just the podcast, but any of our other shows that we painstakingly, sometimes, at the dead of night, Garrett sometimes at like 2 a.m., even though I tell him not to do it, but he does it anyway. That we put up and we release for your enjoyment. So hearing from you and hearing how you guys enjoy it kind of fuels us to continue to make it. So we appreciate you. And I believe that'll do it. So as always, we are the Super Gamer Boys.
And we'll catch you on the flippity flop.
That's what JJ's doing right now on that boot. Flippity flopping that tongue.
Oh, nasty. Well, I don't need that visual.
It's too late. It's in there now.